Hello and welcome to this quick refresher video on how to calculate slope of a line when you're given a graph. Before we get into the math, we should discuss what types of lines there are. There are four basic types of lines. Uphill lines, those are ones that go up from left to right. As we go from left to right, notice that this is going up. Lines that are going up from left to right, or that are uphill, have a positive slope. Lines that are downhill, in other words, as we move from left to right and it's going down, those have negative slope. A line that is horizontal has zero slope. And a line that is vertical, as we see here, has undefined slope. It's good to know these terms so that as we're working with lines, we can always look back and check our answer to make sure that we have a positive. If it's a positive line, our answer has positive slope, or if it's a downhill line, our answer comes out to be negative. So let's work on this example here. Let's say that you were asked to find the slope. Find the slope. The first thing we want to do is identify what kind of line it is. And it's an uphill line, so our answer needs to be positive. That's just always a great thing to remember, keep in the back of our minds, that as if we do this, it's an uphill line. It's going up from left to right, so our answer needs to be positive. Okay, let's get to the procedures. The first thing you need to do is find the leftist most point. Ooh, the leftist. Okay, so you got to know your lefts and rights here. Sometimes I forget. I always have to raise my index finger and my thumb to see which one spells L. Leftist, this would be it right here. Hopefully you found it. This is the leftist most point, leftist. And if we were to label that point, it would be, let's see, 1, 2, -2, because you go 2 to the left, and then down 1. So it's -2, -1. Okay, that's cool. I'm going to move that to right here, -2, -1. And this other point, let's see, it then says to find a point to the right of that. That's step number 2. So to the right would be this point right here. And that's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 4, and it goes up 1, 2, 3. It's 4, 3. That's our right point. Okay, cool. Now that we've found these 2 points, we need to go ahead and count the rise over the run. It's important to remember that slope is just a fancy word for how much you rise divided by how much you run. So in step number 3, we need to count the rise. In other words, if I start at the leftist most point, how much do I have to rise to get to my right point? Well, let's find out. My right point is right up here. So it's at 3. So I'm going to have to count up. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have to rise 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to the same level as my right point. So my rise is 4. And my run is going to be how far I have to go from left to right to get to the next point. Let's find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have to run 6 spots to the right. That's step number 4. In the last step, we just need to divide these. So we'll take the rise divided by the run. We get 4/6. This does simplify, and so I'm going to divide the top and bottom by 2 to get 2/3. The slope of this line is 2/3, and it's positive, which means it goes up from left to right. That's the procedure. It's a 5-step process for finding the slope of a line. If the line by chance is negative, we'll do the same thing. We're going to take our leftist most point. Here's our left point, 1, 2. And this is our right point. And again, I'm going to, once we found those, we're going to count the rise required. Now, the only problem is, remember that it's rise divided by run. That's slope. And slope, we use the letter M to represent slope. Mathematicians were kind of crazy picking M, but that's what they did. So let's find out. If I start at my left, how much do I have to rise to get to the right point? Now, this is weird because we can't rise. If we rise, we won't find that point. So instead, we have to drop. We have to drop 1 spot to get to the next, to get to that point. So our rise is not a positive number. It's a negative because I dropped 1 spot. Okay, great. And how far now do I have to run? So I would have to run, here I am, I'd go 1, 2 spots. So my rise is -1 and my run is 2. And so that's it. There's no simplifying there. My answer would be -1/2. So using those 5 steps, let's see if you can find some slopes of some lines. So here are 6 graphs, and what we'd like you to do is use the 5-step procedure to find the slopes of these graphs. Start with the leftist point, and then find a right point. Count the rise that is required to get you from the left to the right point. Then calculate the run, and then do rise divided by run. Give it a shot, and we'll check your answers. Pause the video now, do these 6, and then we'll check your answers when you unpause the video. Okay, hopefully you had a chance to check it out. Let's go ahead and start with number 1. I'm going to start with this point right here, and I need to get to, so this is my leftist point, and I need to get to this point here. So let's calculate it. I got to calculate the rise, and then I got to calculate the run. Let's find out. To rise, I got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got to rise 6 spots. Now sometimes people forget to count the axis. Don't forget to count the axis. That is countable. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I rise 6. Now let's calculate my run. I go 1, 2, 3. So my rise was 6. My run was 3. When I divide those, I find out that my slope is 2. And that would make sense because it is a line increasing from left to right. Let's try number 2. Here I'm going to start at my leftist point. I got to go to this point all the way over there. So my rise, let's calculate that. My rise is going to be 1, 2 spots. I go up 2 spots, so my rise is 2. And then I'm going to divide that by the run. Let's find out how much I got to run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spots. So then I divide or simplify the fraction. 2 divided by 8. Let's see. Let's divide the top and bottom by 2. I get 1/4. That's my answer. Number 3. This is an interesting one. If I start at my leftist point, I got to get to my rightist point. Oh my goodness. So how much do I rise? I don't rise at all. My rise is 0. In fact, this is a horizontal line, and we even mentioned that whenever you have a horizontal line, your slope will be 0. You could calculate your run and be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots, but 0 divided by 6 is still 0. So the slope of a horizontal line, all horizontal lines, are 0. Okay, let's try this number 4 here. I'm going to start at my leftist point. And I got to rise. Ooh, I can't rise to get to a point. So I'm going to actually drop. I'm going to fall, and I fall 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. So because I went down, because I fell, my rise is actually -4. Okay, let's calculate the run. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it takes 4 to run to the next point. And so when I divide those, -4 divided by 4, I get -1. Okay, let's try this number 5. Here's my leftist point. How much do I have to rise? I rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have to rise 6 to get to the same level. And my run is 1, 2. So 6 divided by 2 comes out to be 3. The last one, number 6, it's a little tricky. The rise here to go from, there is no leftist point here, so that's kind of weird. So I guess I'll just start with the bottom point. This would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My rise would be 6. And my run, there is no run. So it's 6 divided by 0. But we have a rule that you never divide by 0. Yeah, we can't divide by 0. Therefore, whenever you're dividing by 0, your answer is undefined, which makes sense because at the beginning of this video, we said anytime you have a vertical line, the slope is undefined. Okay, thanks for watching this video. Keep working hard, and good luck when you calculate slopes of a line when you're given a graph.